Everybody get up, no need to cram now. We got a real jam going down, going down, going down, going down, going down, going down. Welcome to the IntelliJAM.
All right, we got the best type of jam. We've got a new feature to talk about, and I've got Shane back for another jam. He even put on the dress shirt just for me to come talk about this. Shane, let's talk about the latest and greatest at IntelliJAMS. We've got checkout testing now. Give us the TLDR on checkout testing.
Yes, just for you, Alex. Had to be looking fresh here for the IntelliJAMS. Yeah, checkout testing is finally here. Something we've been talking about for a while internally, and something that customers have been asking us about. Our team has been working, a bunch over the last couple of months to get this feature across the board, across the line, just in time the first week of November. But yeah, we launched checkout testing, and within checkout testing, you can now test content blocks within your checkout page to determine what really helps customers get over the edge. What value props, customer ratings, any type of content, whether it's an image, text block, or an icon, how can we help influence the checkout? And you can test it end to end with IntelliJAMS.
I love this because a term that I hear internally, as well as with like a lot of our agency partners, actually is like, hey, make sure that you're able to test close to the money. And you hit on it there by saying end to end is like, hey, if someone lands on a particular spot from an ad, we take them through the entire experience, and then actually at the checkout, the point where like money is actually changing hands, the sale is complete, being able to test close to the money there, I think is really important. And I think, like you said, end to end, being able to control that experience all the way through. So inside of checkout testing, we have the ability to experiment with content at checkout. And you and I have both been in the Shopify space for a really long time. I think like there's been this sentiment from Shopify for a very long time of like, hey, don't mess with the checkout. The checkout is like perfect. And I think that is true, I think, from like a transactional standpoint. Like I do think Shopify has nailed the checkout from a like, hey, let's get the money exchanged and like get this transaction complete. I think where we saw opportunity, or I shouldn't even say we, where like you, the listeners, have been seeing opportunity is like, is there places where I can inject some of the things that are important to my customers, important to my brand into that checkout? And like, what would those things be? Because like when we talk, say content here, like I don't think either of us are saying, let's drop paragraphs in here. Like, let's do like complete changes to the checkout. I think we see this as, hey, there's value that you can add by doing it in like very succinct, quick hitters. Don't distract, but give someone that little nudge, poke, prod to get across the line.
Yeah, I think don't distract is a good way to think about it too, Alex. Is like Shopify's nailed checkout. You see even non-Shopify software in the space like just replicate what Shopify
Steal
did
it.
across
Yep.
Yeah, exactly, across billions and billions of transactions. So the customer is also super used to this checkout flow now, shopping across brands. So Shopify nailed checkout. How do we add those nudges without distracting, I think is really important. And when going from end to end, like a lot of customers we see, our customers and just brands in the space, like you typically have value props, whether it's a value prop related to how you create your product or your positioning, some taglines that live across all of your media, across your brand, across your packaging, across your PDPs, across your ads. Like there are some repeatable pieces of content that either provide value and messaging of what you're delivering to the customer, or it's related to like improving the transaction, free shipping, free returns, a warranty policy, number of customers, number of 5 stars, resale process, repair process, whatever that may be. And so I think to don't distract at checkout is like the messaging you're already telling the customer in all of these different places. Make sure you just add that at checkout as well. Like that is a simple addition and something that you can, definitely test with IntelliJAMS to validate, but that really helps nudge or prod the customer. I like that. Prod them, smash that pay now button. And so that's what we're excited to see with, our first couple weeks of launching this and some early adopters and test results is it's been fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll be a broken record here at IntelliJAMS on saying test it. Like, hey, when we're saying don't distract, like go try these different components and like try these different angles and see what. I mean, you're going to be able to see if it's distracting. Like cart abandonment goes up, conversion goes down. Like you're going to be able to see if this is actually an effective use of content or not. So as we think about testing these things, like obviously we've had a few beta customers go through this. We've also been thinking about this for a while. What are some ways or some of these components that we should be putting in there to help? Like what is going to give that nudge? And I think like the two categorizations you gave there, I've also heard, we had Mike D'Elia from Groove Life on the podcast earlier, and he was talking about testing the difference between risk reduction and value add. So maybe we can use that to kind of like segment what to test here. But what have brands been doing, or what would you recommend people try or people test here to see if it's effective?
Yeah, I like the risk reduction or value add is a great way to think about this. Like you as the brand operator, or you as the brand probably know like what hesitations a customer has when they're shopping with you. Like if you're buying shoes, probably something about the return policy, because like is this going to fit? Do I need to buy a 10 and a half and an 11 for me? Or can I just buy the 10 and a half and know like if it doesn't work out, I can then go buy the 11 because I don't want to deal with buying both pair of shoes. So I think the risk reduction is great. Value add, I think, is like, I think warranty could come into value add and risk reduction. But some value adds around like, what is it actually doing? If it's a health related product, I think there's value add there. If it's anything related in that space, there's really just value adds that you can push at checkout as someone's really just like, again, smash that pay now button. Like what do I need to just like get me over the edge? You've already gone through the process of maybe the offer or the personalization on the site, and like they've gotten through all of these different steps of the funnel, and what is the last piece? I think it really just depends on your brand, but you probably have a really good point of view on why customers don't buy, whether it's through other surveys or whether you just know from market research or talking to your customers. And so I would say like lean into those. For the value add, like look at your reviews, look at your product reviews, look at other reviews related to your experience with customers, why they love you, and push that at checkout as well too.
Yeah, or even I'm thinking ad angles, right? On the value add side, like, hey, if your cosmetic company is like cruelty free, a message that is like resonating at the ad level, is that something we could experiment with on the value add? So to try to like categorize a few things here, like on the risk reduction, the shoes example is fantastic. Like everyone buying shoes is worried about exchanges. Am I going to get into the right size? That's probably like the final thing that's weighing on their mind when they get to checkout. So having that there as like a risk reduction. I think like maybe some of the other risk reductions you could potentially try is like a customer testimonial, something like sitting there like, hey, even if the testimonial is actually doing two things, like it is providing social proof and that risk reduction on exchanges. Shane says the exchange process was simple with this. Like I bought the wrong size and they made it so easy for me. So like testimonials, reviews, returns and exchanges, satisfaction guarantees, like all of these things can play into like, let's make sure that Shane doesn't feel like this is a risk to him to make this purchase. I think those are the ones that people would like naturally gravitate towards. I think like the value add is where I see like a little bit more kind of like fun here. Like we were like in that ad angle, like pulling out some of those reviews. Like, have you seen anyone through beta, or have you been thinking about this from like the value add side? Is there anything that you would experiment with like explicitly there?
Yeah, that's a great call. I think nothing that's coming to mind right now through what we've seen with initial tests in beta, but what works well on ads, like what works well on your messaging, again, just get into this like end-to-end piece, is like if this works well on your ads to get people to your homepage or to your PDP or to your collection page and gets them to, add to cart and gets them to check out, like that through line on the messaging is probably also going to get them to hit the pay now button. And maybe it's like a repositioning of that piece. Like you saw coming from an influencer, like a white label influencer ad, and it's like, this is my example that I've been using throughout. But it's like, I love diners, drive-ins, and dives. It's like Guy Fieri approved or something like that, and you see that, and then you go to the PDP and you see like a quote from him or an image of him, and then you get to the add to cart, and it's like maybe the quote there is like used in 50 plus 5-star restaurants or something like that, or like whatever that message is, and just tweak it a little bit. It has like the Guy stamp or something like that. I think continuing that message throughout on the value or whatever the prop is really important. Not getting into like checkout experiences and how you could actually run that as a straight personalization. You could. I think we should stick to testing here. But I think you know your brand better than anyone. You can see what other customers are doing, like, or other brands, like other companies, other brands are doing, and maybe get a frame of reference. But you know your brand better than anyone. You know the messaging you have on the PDP, on the homepage. Like, does that add value at checkout? If you just put something like, very generic, like the best shoes ever, or, like 5-star rated, like, maybe that helps, but you need to get a little bit more specific. You need to like help me over the edge just a little bit more, like nudge me a little bit more than like going straight generic. That probably won't work very well.
I mean, even something in there is like, yes, that's like something we talk a lot about here at IntelliJAMS is like, you can find inspiration from other brands. Like there are these best practices that you can draw inspiration from, but like experiment, test, try to find like and discover what actually works for you. And it might be the case that adding these value adds in there actually isn't really doing anything. Like test adding them in versus just leaving it blank. Maybe just the generic Shopify checkout is the best for your brand. All we're saying here is like you have the ability to inject the things that matter to you. Shoes, risk reduction, makeup, cruelty-free, clothing, made in the USA. Like there's all these things that you know about what is important to your customer. And again, it's about that nudge. Neither Shane or I is recommending that you completely reformat the checkout. It is like Shopify nailed it. Let's find ways to just get that little extra nudge in here. So in terms of like what we have here, again, end to end, you now have more surface that you can test and experiment inside of IntelliJAMS. And I think like that's probably what the most of us here are most excited about is you can now experiment in more places. In terms of experimenting in the checkout, we've got these risk reduction type plays. We've got the value add type plays, and you're going to be able to do these with simple types of content. A little bit of copy, a badge, an image, these ways where you can give these gentle nudges. And inside of these types of experiments, we're mostly going to be targeting a bump in conversion, a drop in cart abandonment, and like, hey, can we get these small pieces and small nudges in there to boost in one of those two areas? Is that an accurate representation of what we're trying to do here?
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think another great value add here is splitting between device. You can go way deeper on again like personalization, but like how the checkout looks on mobile is a little bit different than how the checkout looks on desktop, and where you place this content is important. And so I think launching with the test, launching with like pretty generic, control is nothing or whatever your current checkout is, versus adding these content blocks to your checkout, then looking, run that for however long it takes to get to a good confidence level. Then splitting like, okay, desktop and mobile, and then going like a next stage deeper. And I think getting to a point where you have a mobile experience and you have a desktop experience, they might be the same, they might be different, and you're confident that like this is increasing conversion, 10 to 15%, or this is reducing my abandoned cart rate by 20%, or whatever that may be. That's the way I think about it. That's the way I've been talking to customers about it, the last couple of weeks, and as we did customer, research in the last few months. Those nudges is really those confidence boosters, is just like smash the pay now button. This is how we get it. And the don't distract, Alex, like again, is you can look at what's out there. You can look at customers and be like, well, I know this brand is mentioned in all of these case studies and all of this. And like, I look at their checkout and it's like block here, block here, block here, like content here, all that. It's like, if you're doing nothing right now, don't add 5 things. Like, let's figure out one thing. Does this work? If you want to go further because you have, a value add and, a risk reduction and you have 2, great. Like, let's start somewhere. And I think IntelliJAMS, like this product is amazing. Like I was on earlier talking about offers, I don't know, a couple months ago, and this product I think is just, every customer should be launching something at checkout. It's just so automatic because it's been mostly locked down. Again, Shopify Plus, want to plug that. It's Shopify Plus customers. But yeah, get rolling on checkout.
Amazing. Shout out to you and the product team. Like it seems like we're talking about something new kind of like every 2 weeks or so at this point. And it's great to see that velocity. If people have any questions or comments or concerns about checkout testing, you've got the success team, you've got the support team in your corner. If you're an existing IntelliJAMS customer, just reach out if you have an idea or you want a second set of eyes on something. We will also link in the show notes all the details about the different components that you have at your disposal and some other experiment ideas we have to give you guys the inspiration. But again, get inspired and go discover what works for you. Do not just steal something because it worked for someone else. Test it.
Yeah, definitely. Test it and see that checkout conversion rate go up and abandoned cart rate go down. That's what we want to see.